Sports.
We don't know what the Kings are doing this offseason yet. We can speculate. We think we know what they would like to do, but they got to wait, see what other teams are doing, see what goes on with the draft. They're working guys out. So you've got this vacuum as Kings fans were waiting to hear something. And then with nothing of note actually happening, this vacuum is created, and then everything that has anything to do with the Kings gets sucked up into the vacuum. And we look at it like, wow, what about this? From Brett Siegel. Jrue Holiday is a veteran player that Kings have interest in, sources said. What sources? We don't know. What exactly did they say? Who are they? We don't know. Whether or not Holiday is made available in trade talks by Boston is the ultimate question. New GM Scott Perry has made it clear his team needs a true point guard, and Scott Perry has always been a fan of Holiday when he worked with the Knicks. Perry wanted to explore the possibility of adding Holiday in New York before he was traded to the Bucks in 2020, sources said. Same sources? I don't know. What exactly did they say? We don't know. Sacramento enters the offseason with decisions needing to be made about DeMar DeRozan's immediate future. Brett Siegel. So then you've also got on the Boston side, Drapes, I know you've been following this. There's a lot of talk of how Boston may need to do something that may need to move a fairly substantial salary.
Well, I just texted my boy Chris Forsberg, NBC Sports Boston, just wrote a piece about Sam Hauser and Jrue Holiday going to Dallas in a potential deal. I said, Forsberg, any chance of a DeRozan for Holiday swap? His take on it. Probably too much money for C's, but if they struck out on other low-cost options or could reroute him to a third team, they might be intrigued. Not sure he fits Missoula ball with all his mid-range shots.
Right.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So that's not a definite no way.
Not a definite no way, but it's not the Celtics want him. Like, if we can, send him elsewhere and facilitate something, yes. And it may come to that way.
I know. My guess, and I know you already talked about this, I think it's going to be the case with a lot of teams that the Kings talk to about DeMar DeRozan.
Right.
Not our first choice, but, you know, if we can't get what else we want, maybe.
Yeah, and I think, listening to Forsberg and you and just, I think the league needs to probably wait what happens with Giannis, what happens with Kevin Durant, all the big fish, and then see who's still desperate to make a move, a la Houston or somebody like that. So we might not know. Let me ask you this, though, because, you read what Brett Siegel said. Do we have any concrete source inside the organization that says they would be looking to move on from DeMar DeRozan? Or is this all speculation?
There is nothing concrete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not even from DeRozan's side.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm glad you reiterated that. I've been trying to be, clear on that, because that's the case with a lot of this. Again, that's why I point out with Siegel, a source says, what source? What did he say?
Right.
Who is it?
Right.
How would this source know anything? We don't know. But again, because there's nothing else going on, we kick it around on the text line here, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We already got Jrue Holiday, a younger version. His name is Devin Carter. I saw one potential trade here that had DeMar going to the Celtics for Holiday, and to sweeten the pot, the Kings would have to throw in Devin Carter, and I don't think I'd do that.
You're that high on Devin Carter right now.
Just the whole idea of a younger player for Jrue Holiday, who even, he's just not going to be, what is he, 34?
34.
I love Jrue Holiday, but the whole fitting my timeline thing.
Right.
I need young assets.
I don't know what the ceiling is for Devin Carter. Like, is he a starter in this league?
I don't know. I'm not pretending it is. I don't know.
And I would say this.
A rotation player.
I would say this too. And not saying he's going to turn into this guy. But the Kings have a history of trading away young talent before they fully develop. Tyrese Halliburton. Not saying Devin Carter would turn into that. But damn, let's see what he is first. Like, to your point, a 34-year-old Jrue Holiday, we're going to give up a lottery pick, basically? A guy that was a lottery pick going into his second year who only played half a season? It doesn't make sense.
530 says, Jrue Holiday is old and slightly above mid. He moves 0 needles. He's better than mid.
Yeah.
He's on the back nine, no question. He would move some needles, but he would move more needles for a team that's really close to a championship.
Yeah.
It'd be like, that guy makes us a championship team, and the Kings just aren't there.
Yeah, and the thing about it, too, when it comes to Jrue Holiday, I still think he has some left in the tank. I think because of the team he was on, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot offensively. He wasn't asked to run a team, per se. Just play some great defense, knock down some shots. That's it. Now, if he's on Sacramento, he's our lead guard. He's got the ball in his hands. He's creating. He's running the show. I don't know if we want to. The problem with the Kings, Whitey, historically, and I would love to hear fans' take on this, 916-339-1140. Too many times we've tried to fast track our way to relevancy.
Try to take shortcuts.
And so, to your point about Jrue Holiday's age, maybe we want to look at somebody younger.
Yeah.
Don't just get a stopgap in terms of trading away assets just for 2 seasons of Jrue Holiday. Like, I would be highly reluctant in any deal, unless it's a star, to trade a first-round pick even.
Yeah, me too. I do think there's some middle ground. I'm with you, but I don't think you're saying to tank, and I'm not pro-tanking,
No.
but you can get younger without just, we're going to lose
60
games a year for the next 4 years.
You definitely can get younger. And, and if I'm making a trade, maybe I'm not trading for a 34-year-old about to be 35-year-old point guard. Maybe I'm trading for an Anthony Black in Orlando, somebody younger, or a Cam Whitmore in Houston. Or, like I said before, my boy Ben Mathurin, who is having a horrific series right now. But maybe I'm taking a flyer on somebody like that instead of the finished product a la Jrue Holiday, who has 2 years left, basically.
That's one of the reasons why I'm so anxious to find out what the Kings are doing, because it will tell us which lane they're choosing.
Path. Yeah.
I would think yours is the one you just described. I'm with you. That seems the most logical, but who knows? They may decide to basically run it back with the same core and just augment that core from last year. I hope not, but we don't know yet.
Right. I think if you, let's say you do make a trade, because there's the run it back path, there's the tank path, and there's 2 paths when it comes to trade. Trade for an established veteran or trade for a young player. If I had my druthers, it's trade for a young player.
Me too.
It's, because even if you get Jrue Holiday, are you really contenders in the Western Conference?
No.
And you gave up some assets, basically.
That's why I don't want to give up any young assets.
Right. I'm with you on that.
To me, Drapes, what the Kings need is sadly obvious. Sadly, SDDLY. They need shooting, depth, defense, length, and youth.
Say that again?
What they need is sadly obvious. SDDLY. They need shooting, they need defense, they need depth, they need length, and they need youth.
Damn.
And that's what I'm using. That's my that's my matrix I'm using. Any moves they make this year, do they address any of those needs? To me, those are the things they need. And again, a lot of that is based on what you're seeing the best teams in the NBA do right now.
Right. And the problem, the thing about it, I'm looking at a team like Minnesota. They need some of the same things.
They do.
And they're in the Western Conference Finals.
You're right.
So you're talking about a quarter of the league needs all those things.
That's true.
And so
the Kings need a lot of
it. They need a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like what I'm hoping Scott Perry does, I'm hoping he doesn't, because here's the thing. When it comes to a guy like Sam Presti, when it comes to Brad Stevens, some of the successful GMs over recent years, it's easy to go out there and say, oh, I want to get Giannis, or I want to get this guy. I want to get, if I'm Scott Perry, I'm looking at the diamond in the rough. I'm looking at the girl in the corner nobody looking at. Oh, she got potential. He has potential in the right situation with us. And I'm talking about a young player. this guy can blossom.
Yeah, that's like a Moneyball move.
Right.
Yes.
Right. While everybody's chasing over there, I'm chasing the undervalued asset.
Yes. And if you can do that, that's how you show you are smarter than everybody else.
Right. That's what, Brad Stevens did, getting Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis was flaming out there in Dallas. Jrue Holiday, that was a thief move. Bringing back Al Horford. Remember, Al Horford struggled in Philly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. From the 530, it'd be a recent Kings move to say Jrue will pair well with Levine and Domas and Monk, and it'd be better than Debo with that group, but not better enough. I believe they're going to do a version of Run It Back. So that's 530. I believe they're going to do a version of Run It Back. We don't know. We'll see.
We don't know. And I'll say this. I'm going on record. If they do run it back, it's not for lack of trying to make changes. Because I don't think Scott Perry took the job to be like, oh, we're okay.
Yeah, that's why I think we're going to hear a lot more rumors, because I think they are asking about a lot of things.
Right.
Just because they called so-and-so about that guy doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do it.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to hear them checking in on a lot of
everybody,
guys.
a lot of people out there.
Yeah. Three things.